Hey guys, this is Christina from craftmuse, and today I have a tutorial for a Loomigurumi Pluto / Goofy inspired by TSUM TSUM. I've already done Pluto, so today in the tutorial I will be making Goofy, and the design is the same. The only difference will be the color changes and the hat that we add to Goofy, and as well as some little hairs. But I will be, if you want to make Pluto instead, I will be letting you know when to switch to what colors to make this guy here. So if you're making Pluto, you're going to need yellow. I used an opaque Rainbow Loom yellow band, and then I've also used a lime green opaque Rainbow Loom for the little collar. And then you're going to need a black, a white, something for the eyes. I used pony beads for these. These are the 9mm pony beads, but you can use wrap bands or safety eyes, buttons, whatever you guys have on hand, and some polyfill. And you'll also need your crochet hook or rainbow loom hook, and then an extra one to hold your little arms and legs on for the time being. So if you want to make Goofy, you're going to need, let's see, let me get out what I've got here. You're going to need more colors than what you need for Pluto, but let me show you. These are what I'm using today. So we've got the black, of course, and then you'll need a white for the eye area. You'll need like a flesh colored band. These are really pale flesh color that I'm going to be using for the little nose part, and then you'll need orange for the shirt, blue for the pants, and then green for the hat. Or you can make your Pluto whatever color you want, but I'm just basing this off of the Goofy TSUM TSUM that they have in the game. So you also need a stitch marker. I'm using a C-clip. And that's about it. So let's get started. So the first thing that we want to start with are the arms and the legs. And then for Pluto, you're going to have to make an extra one, which is for the head bump. So if you're making Pluto, you're going to make 5 magic rings with 6 stitches in it. If you're making Goofy, you're just going to need to make 4, but you're going to need to make 2 in white and 2 in black. And I would start with the black first if you're making Goofy, because we are going to be needing the white ones first. So if you make the black ones and put them on your holding hook, then you can put the white ones, will be in the front. So I'll make one with you, even though I already have mine, but that's because I tried filming this yesterday and it didn't go so well. So hopefully it goes better this time. So like I said, I'm making Goofy, but if you're making Pluto, all of your magic rings with 6 stitches will be in yellow. So to do a magic ring, I'll take my first band and wrap it around my hook 2 times to create 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to take another band. I'm going to pull this band onto the center of this band here. I'm going to push this down and reclaim the other end of this band onto my hook. And then I'm going to take this front band here and slide it under this one here. So that you're basically just creating a slip knot, except you don't want to tie it too tight. Like you don't want to pull on it to close it up. So next thing I'm going to do is go through that capping band that we made. So I have my capping band on my hook and this band over here. I'm going to pull up my second band, and this time I'm going to pull it through the capping band only. So I'm leaving this band here alone and just using these ones here. So I'll just pull it through these, and then I'll reclaim the other end of this band onto my hook. So now you should have 3 loops on your hook, and you're going to take this front band here and bring it through these 2 here. So just slide them under. I'm going to repeat this process 4 more times because we want to have a total of 6 stitches. So my third band, I'm going to pull through the capping band only, reclaim, and bring this underneath these 2. So that was number 3. Here's number 4. Here's 5. And then one more, so you go do your last one. And there's 6. Now, every time you finish a round, you should probably stop and count your stitches just to make sure that you have the right amount of stitches that you need for each round. So these little V-shaped things here on the side are our stitches. So we want to have 6 of them. So I'm just going to make sure. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this band that is on my hook counts as a stitch, so that will be number 6. So now what you'll do is take your holding hook or your tool or your pencil or whatever you're using and just place it on to your hook. I already have mine, so I'm not going to put mine on there. But if you want to just pause the video and continue making the rest of yours, go ahead and do that. So remember, if you're making Pluto, you need 5 yellow. If you're making Goofy, you need 2 in black and 2 in white. The next thing that we can go ahead and make now are the ears, and for Pluto and Goofy they're the same, so they're the same length, same size, same color. So if you're making Pluto and Goofy, you're going to just be doing the same thing. So here's one here. Actually I have 2, again because I filmed earlier, but I'll still make one with you. So you'll need your black for this. Now, instead of doing a magic ring with 6 stitches, we're only going to be putting 5 stitches in. But it's just like the arms and the legs, how we started out. So we're going to wrap our band around our hook twice. And then we want to make 5 stitches in our magic ring. So there's 2. There's 3. There's 4. And then 5. So just count to make sure that you have all of your stitches in. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So the next thing that we want to do, instead of doing single crochets all the way around this circle, we're just going to be doing a single crochet and then a single crochet and then turning it. So we're not actually working in this entire round. So what I'll do is I'll go to my first stitch, stick my hook through it, and I'm going to do a single crochet, which is where you take a band, pull it through the stitch only, leave this band here alone. So I'll just pull it through my stitch only, reclaim onto my hook, and then just like the magic ring, I'm going to pull this front band here underneath these 2, and that is a single crochet. So I'm going to go over to my next stitch right next to that first one, and I'm going to do another single crochet. Okay, so that is what you should have. Now I'm just going to turn it so that I can work the opposite way. So right here on this step number 3, we're going to repeat the 2 single crochets for a total of 6 times. So this time I will go 2 single crochets this way, turn, then that way, we'll just go back and forth, back and forth. So after you do each single crochet before you turn to do your next row, I would just mark it off with a band just to make sure that you do 6. So what I'll do is, now I'm going the other way, so I'm going to do my single crochet in this first stitch here, and then I'm going to go to my next stitch over and do my single crochet. Okay, now I'm going to mark it with a band, so I'm just going to put a band there. So I've done that 1 time, so I need to do 5 more times. Now I'm going to turn it. I'm going to go the other way. So there's 1, 2. I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to turn. So there's 1. And there's 2. I'm going to mark and turn. So you just keep going until you've done this 6 times. So I've done 5, so I just need to do this one more time. So there's 1. There's 2. Okay, so I've done that a total of 6 times, and now I'm just going to go in somewhere right next to that last stitch. Take a band and pull it through all of the loops on my hook. And then I will just do a slip knot to close it off. And then you can just stretch it out a little bit, just so it's not, you know, curling. But so that's one ear, and you'll just need to make another one just like this. And you can set them aside for now because we're not going to be using them for a little while. So our next thing that we want to make is the little, I guess, muzzle area, which is this part right here. It's attached separately from the face. So if you're making Pluto, you're going to need to make this outer part in yellow. And then if you're making Goofy, we're going to have to do it in this flesh color band. So let's do that. Let me get my colors ready. Alright, so we're going to take one band. We're going to wrap it around our hook just one time so that we have 2 loops on our hook. The next thing we want to do is chain 6. So not counting this capping band, we want to add 6 more bands to this. So I'll take a band, slide this capping band onto it, and reclaim the other end onto my hook. And now I'm going to do that 5 more times. So I have 3 on there. There's 4. There's 5. And there's 6. So the next thing we want to do is, I'm not even sure if this is the right use of term here, as like I'm saying it's a half double crochet around this chain. So we're going to be doing a different type of crochet all the way around. So just follow along with me. I'm not sure if it's considered a half double crochet or a double crochet, but I'm just going to show you what I mean by that. So you have the bands that are on your hook. What you're going to do is go into this stitch right under those. So I'm going to go into this stitch here. I'll take a band, I'm going to bring it through the stitch only and reclaim so that I have a total of 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to take another band and I'm going to bring it through all of these loops on my hook and reclaim the other end. So now I just have 2. So you're going to keep going down the chain doing that. So I'll go into my next stitch down, grab a band, bring it through the stitch only. I'm going to grab another band and pull it through all of these loops. I'm moving on to my third stitch. So through the stitch only, and then through all of them. Okay, I'm going on my fourth one, through the stitch only, and then through all of them. Okay, I'm on my fifth one, so I'm going through the stitch only, and then I'll go through all of them. And now we're at the cap band, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to treat it just like a stitch. So just go through your cap band, pull a band through the cap band only, reclaim, and pull all through all of them. Okay, so you've got your regular chain on one side still, and then you've got these crochets on one. So now we want to work on this other side here that doesn't have the crochets in it. So we're going to go back through that capping band that we just went through. And we're going to take a band through the cap band only, reclaim, and pull through. And now we're just going to work our way down. So you'll go to the next stitch right underneath that capping band and continue this crochet all the way to the beginning. I'm trying to go slow just so you guys can see what I am doing. Now try to make sure that you're not going through the same stitch twice. Make sure you're just going through the stitches that you haven't worked in yet, because they can be a little bit hard to tell if you've put a crochet through them or not. Okay, so I think, yeah, this is my last one up here. So once you get to the top, you should end up with something like this. And then I am just going to go through this next stitch over, and I'm going to just tie this off. So I'll take a band and bring it through all the loops on my hook, and then tie this into a slip knot. And then this we will actually sew onto the face later on. So just give it a little stretch. And we do need to add like a little nose to it, which is very simple. It's just whatever color you're using for like the little nose part. I'm just using black. Take 2 of your nose colored bands, wrap them around your hook once, grab all of those bands and wrap it around again, just like that. And then here I'm going to take 2 of my muzzle, or I don't know what it's called, the color that I just made this in. I'm going to slip knot these bands together. So if it's easier for you, just put one band on your hook, grab your other band and slide this band onto it, reclaim the other end, and then just tie this into a slip knot. And I just did that because we're just going to be tying this on to the nose, so it's just easier if you have more length. So now I'll just take this 2-length band and slide this nose part onto it in the center. Okay, So that's what you should have. Now pick up your little thingy here, and you're gonna just go through, you're gonna lay your nose on how you want it in the center somewhere, and then go through the bottom and pull down one side, and then go through the other side and pull down the other. And then you'll want to make sure that it will be centered when you pull the bands, when you tie the bands together. So once you've found your spot, just take your loose bands in the back and tie them into a knot. Okay, so just like that. So that's the little nose piece that we will be adding later. So you can set that aside for now, along with your ears and your arms and your legs. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, so now we're going to be working on Goofy's hat. So if you're not making Goofy, then you can fast forward through this part and start where we start the body. But if you are making Goofy, you will need a hat. So this is what we're going to be doing for the hat. Alright, so we're going to be starting with the lime green, or regular green, whatever you guys are using for your hat for Goofy. And our first thing that we want to do is a magic ring with 9 stitches in it. So it's going to be a little bit of a squeeze in your magic ring, but I just found it works out better that way for the shaping of the hat when we add in 9 stitches. So we'll grab our first band and wrap it around our hook twice to make our 3 loops. I'll take a band and pull this on, reclaim, and then pull this band under this one. Now I'll go back through my capping band, take my second band and pull it through my capping band only, reclaim, and then this one will go underneath these 2. So that was number 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. 5. 6. And if you're running out of room in there, just kind of push them down. 7. 8. And I need 1 more. And 9. So just count just to make sure you have 9. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. So if you've got your C-clip or your stitch marker, go ahead and place that in the band that is on your hook. So for row 2, we're just going to single crochet around in our 9 stitches. So just go all the way around. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'm going to take my C-clip out because it's going to be in the way. And 9. So now I'll stick my C-clip back up here. Okay, so for row 3 we want to switch to black now. And since we're doing a color change, we're going to have to do a slip stitch. And our pattern for this is single crochet followed by a decrease all the way around so that we end up with 6 stitches. So in my first stitch over here, I'm going to grab my black band and I'm going to pull it through all of the loops on my hook. I'll reclaim the other end onto my hook, and then I'll just slide this one underneath this one. This just gives a cleaner color change. So my next stitch is going to be a decrease. So to do that, I'm going to pick up the front loop of this next stitch over here, as well as the front loop of the stitch right next to that, so that I have 2 green stitches, or 2 green loops, and then a black one over here. I'll grab my black band, and I'm going to pull it through the first 2 loops only. Reclaim the other end onto my hook. So now I have 3 bands on there, and then just like what we've been doing, this band is going to go underneath these 2. So that's a decrease. My next stitch over is going to be a single crochet. My next one will be a decrease. So again, I'm picking up the front loop only of my stitch, and then I'm going over to the one right next to that and picking up the front loop only. My black band will go through these 2 green bands only, reclaim, and then do your crochet. My next stitch over will be a single. And then I'm going to be ending this row with a decrease. So I'm just going to take out my C-clip, and then I'll pick up my front loop only, and then the last stitch front loop only. Bring my black band through the first 2 only, reclaim, and do my crochet. So now you should have 6 stitches around. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the one on my hook, so 6. Put your C-clip back in there. And now we're switching back to green. So for row 4, we're going to be doing a single crochet followed by an increase all the way around so that we end up with 9 stitches. So just like, sorry, my chair is like really squeaky. So just like we did with the color change for the black, we're going to have to do that again so that we can cleanly switch over to green. So since we did the color change, it's not very noticeable on this round, but there is a stitch that kind of goes up. See, I don't know if you can see that, but it's this one right here. It's not like not going around in the same direction as all the other stitches. So you're gonna skip the stitch altogether. You're not gonna crochet into that one, and that is just a result of the slip stitch. So I'll go into my stitch right next to that weird one, grab my green, and I'm going to do another slip stitch. So I'll bring it through all loops on my hook, reclaim, and do my slip stitch. So that was my first single crochet. My next one is going to be an increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So I'll take my green, I'll do my first single crochet. Now I'll go back into that same stitch I just went into and do another single crochet. My next stitch over will be a single. My next stitch over will be an increase. So it might be getting a little tight here, so don't worry, you can stretch it out a little so you can see the stitches a little bit better. My next stitch over will be a single. And then the last stitch will be an increase. Alright, so now you should have 9 stitches, and again you are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. Again, you're going to have one stitch that you are going to be skipping, and that is your first green stitch that is going in a different direction or facing a different way. So I'll skip that one altogether when I move on, when I go crochet my next row. So for row 5, which is our last row, we're going to be doing a single crochet, followed by an increase so that we end up with 12 stitches. So I'm going to skip that weird stitch. I'll go into my first stitch here, and it will be a single crochet, and then I'll go to my next stitch over, and that will also be a single. And my next stitch over is going to be an increase, so 2 single crochets in this stitch. So there's 1, there's 2. Okay, now my next stitch over is going to be a single, and then my next one will be a single, make sure you're not skipping any stitches when you're doing this. My next one is going to be an increase. So there's 1, go back in there, and there's 2. My next stitch over will be a single. Next one is a single. And then my last stitch is going to be an increase. Okay, so that's it for that hat. Now what we need to do is just go into the next stitch over, grab a green band and bring it through all the loops on your hook, and then just fasten off. So just tie into a slip knot. So you can shape your hat out a little bit. This is supposed to flip up a little. You just stretch it out. Okay, so there's his little hat, and with all the other stuff you can set this aside because we won't be adding that until later. And now we can get started on the actual body of the Tsum Tsums. So let's get started on that. So for both characters, Pluto and Goofy, with this, for the first 2 rows, we're starting with white for both of them. So if you're doing Pluto, start with white. If you're doing Goofy, also start with white. So our first row is going to be a magic ring with 6 stitches in it. And then if you haven't gotten your eyes ready yet, go ahead and put them on bands if you're using the pony beads. If you're using wrap bands, just wrap a band around your hook like 4 times and then slide it onto another band and use that in place of the beads. Or if you're using safety eyes, you'll have to add those later on when we're working on sewing on the facial features. So just a heads up, because we're adding our eyes in the second row, which normally I don't do that, but I wanted the eyes to be a little bit closer to one another than they usually are. So alright, so let's start with white. We're going to wrap our band around our hook twice, and we need to make a magic ring with 6 stitches in it. So there's one. There's two. There's three. Four. Five. And six. Okay, I'm going to put my C-clip there on the band that's on my hook. And then our next row around, we're going to need our eyes. So for row 2, we're just going to be doing an increase all the way around the 6 stitches so that we end up with 12 stitches. Our eyes are going to go in stitches 2 and 5. But follow along with me because since they're increases, I'm going to show you which, what order the eyes will go in. So we'll start with our first stitch, which is an increase. These are all increases. So 2 single crochets in each stitch. Okay, now our first eye is going to go in our second stitch. However, I'm going to start my increase, so I'll do my first single crochet here in my second stitch, and then I'll go back into my second stitch and add my eye in. So just like you're grabbing a band through, except it just has a bead on it, so just crochet the same way. Okay. So then I'll continue around my increases. So that was stitch 3. Now I'm moving on to stitch number 4. So there's 1 and 2. Now I'll go into stitch number 5. Now I'm going to put my eye, so I'll grab my eye, grab it and pull it through, do my crochet, and then I need to go back into that 5th stitch and do another single crochet. Okay, and then my last stitch here will be an increase as well. So there's 1. And 2. So you should have 12 stitches all around your circle, and your eyes are going to look weird for a little bit, but once this gets a little larger, you can actually push them in to the face. But let me just show you this when we count it, because since we put the eyes in, you're going to have little small stitches in there that need to be counted when you're doing your rounds, so you need to make sure that you include those. So I'll kind of point out where those are. So we should have 12, so there's 1, 2, 3, and then our 4th stitch is this small one here, so that's number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then our 9th stitch is also small, so 9, 10, 11, and 12. So go ahead and stick your C-clip back in. Now this is where we're going to start doing a little bit of a color change. So I have it written down for Pluto, and since I'm doing Goofy, just follow along with me. But this pattern pretty much is the same for Goofy. Instead of using where it says Y here, you're going to be doing black. So Y stands for yellow, W stands for white, and this is how this thing works. So currently we have 12 stitches in our round here. So there's 12 stitches right now. This is the pattern up here. So for row 3, we're doing a single crochet followed by an increase all the way around, so we end up with 18 stitches. So for our first stitch, it will be a single crochet and it will be in white. Stitch number 2 will be an increase and it will be in white. 3, single crochet in white. So this is how you kind of read this. Even though I'm going to be, showing it to you, I figured it'd be easier to have it written down as well, in a like kind of graph-like thing. So when I'm using black, you're going to be using yellow for Pluto. So let's get started on that. So the first thing that we want to do is stitch number 1 is a single crochet in white. Moving on to stitch number 2, it's an increase in white. Stitch number 3 will be a single crochet in white. Now stitch number 4 will be an increase in white, and remember, if you're using the same size beads as I am for the eyes, your 4th stitch is going to be pretty small. So I'll do an increase in this stitch here. Your eyeball might get in the way. Okay, now we're on stitch number 5, which is going to be a single crochet, and this is going to be in black for me and yellow for Pluto. So I'll go through my next stitch, and I need to do my color change. So I'll grab my band, pull it through all the loops on my hook, reclaim, and do my slip stitch. Okay. So now I'm on stitch number 6. That will be an increase in either black or yellow. So there's 1, and there's 2. Stitch number 7 will be a single crochet in either black or yellow. Okay. Stitch number 8 will be an increase, and this will be in white. So now we're switching back to white. So we're going to have to do our color change. So go into your stitch, take your white and bring it through all the bands on your hook. Reclaim and do your slip stitch. Now we need to go back into that same stitch and put in another single crochet, because that was an increase that we needed to do. Okay, so for stitch number 9, we have a single crochet in white. And this, again, is a tiny one if you're using the 9mm beads. Stitch number 10 is going to be an increase in white. Stitch number 11 will be a single crochet in white. Oh wait, what am I doing? I tried to do an increase. And then our last stitch is going to be an increase in white, in yellow or black. So we're going to have to do our color change again. So through all the bands on your hook, do your slip stitch, go back through that stitch and put another band through. So since we've done a ton of back and forth with the color changes, you're going to have a few of these weird stitches. So just make sure that when we crochet our next round that you're skipping the stitches that are off from the slip stitch that we did. So go ahead and stick your C-clip in, and let's kind of count to make sure that we have 18 stitches around. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I've got a weird black stitch that's pointing down, so I'm going to skip that. 7, 8, 9, 10, and I've got a weird white one that's sticking down, so I'm going to skip that. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then I've got a weird black one pointing up, so I'm going to skip that. 17, and then the one on my hook is 18. Hopefully you guys are following along with this okay. I try to make it as easy as possible. Okay, so for row number 4, and this is really the last time that you're gonna have like a complicated color change. The face with this part here is probably the hardest with the color changes. And this is our last row around where it's not difficult, but you just have to go a little bit slower. Okay, so for row number 4, our pattern is single crochet, followed by an increase, so that we end up with 24 stitches. And again, this pattern is for Pluto. Well, the pattern's the same for both of them, but the color pattern. So anywhere you see a yellow, a Y, it's going to be black for Goofy. So again, you read it the same way. It's a little bit smaller because I had to fit in 18 stitches since we have 18 now. So stitch number 1 will be a single crochet in yellow or black. Stitch number 2 will be a single crochet in white. 3 will be an increase in white, and so on. So my first stitch is going to be a single crochet in either white or black. Okay, my second stitch is going to be a single crochet in white, so I'm going to bring my white through all the bands on my hook and do my slip stitch. Now our next one, stitch number 3, will be an increase in white. Okay, stitch number 4 will be a single crochet in white. Stitch number 5 will be a single crochet in white. Stitch number 6 will be an increase in yellow or black. So again, do your color change, bring it through all the loops on your hook, reclaim, do your slip stitch, go back through that same stitch and put another crochet in there. Stitch number 7 will be a single crochet in either black or yellow, and here you're going to skip your weird stitch, so don't include that in. Stitch number 8 will be a single crochet in white, in yellow or black. Stitch number 9 will be an increase in black or yellow. Stitch number 10 will be a single crochet in black or yellow. Stitch number 11 will be a single crochet in white. So here you have a weird white one pointing up. You're going to skip that. Go to the stitch right next to that. Bring your white through all of the bands on your hook. Reclaim and do your slip stitch. Stitch number 12 will be an increase in white. Stitch number 13 will be a single crochet in white. Stitch number 14 will be a single crochet in white. Stitch number 15 will be an increase in white. Stitch 16 will be a single crochet in white. Stitch 17 will be a single crochet in either yellow or black. So again, right here I have a weird stitch sticking up. I'm going to skip that, go to my black one, pull my black through all the bands on my hook, and slip stitch. And then our very last stitch is going to be an increase in either yellow or black. Sorry, there we go. So this is what yours should look like now. You can go ahead and poke those eyes in if it's bothering you, because it bothers me. Okay, so now we can continue on, and it gets easier from here until we start attaching the face stuff, of course, but that's not even that difficult. So alright, so here we're going to be doing 5 rounds of just single crochets all the way around. So we should have 24 stitches. And remember, when you're doing your single crochets, to skip those weird looking ones. And I'll kind of try to warn you when one is coming up. So if you're doing Goofy, all these rounds are going to be in black. And if you're doing Pluto, all these rounds are going to be in yellow. And make sure that you mark off each round that you do with a band once you've completed it. So I will do the first one with you, and then I'll let you guys pause the video and do the remaining 4. Otherwise, this video will be super duper long. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with my first stitch of single crochets. Now here I'm coming up on a weird white one that's going up, so I'm going to skip that. So this is number 2. Here's 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now I have another weird one coming up here that's black. It's going up, so I'm going to skip that. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I have another weird one that's kind of pointing up, so I'm going to skip that one. I think this is 14, I kind of lost count. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and then I have a weird black one pointing up. Skip it. 22, 23, and then my last one here is 24. Okay, so now what you want to do is continue around. I'm going to mark this off so to show myself, so let me know that I've done one and I still need to do 4 more. So go ahead and just continue on with your single crochets for 4 more rounds, and then meet me back here when you're finished with that. Alright, so I've completed my additional 4 rows around that we needed to do. And so I'm going to go into my next stitch over and just temporarily fasten this off. So I'll just take a band, bring it through all the loops on my hook, and tie it into a slip knot for now, while we work on my most favorite part, which is adding all of the little things onto his face. So the first thing I want to add is this piece here. And I should have mentioned this earlier, that you will, if you have a yarn needle handy, that is what I'm going to be using to sew this on, because it's a lot easier and it's a lot cleaner than using your hook. However, you can still use your hook by just, you know, going through the necessary holes and just stitching it up with this. So what we need to do with this tying off band is add more so that it is longer. So just slide a band through, reclaim, and then tie a slip knot. And I'm probably going to add about 6 additional slip knotted bands. So I'm using the flesh color, but if you're doing Pluto, make sure that you're using yellow. Okay, and this is probably longer than I need, but I just want to be sure. So now if you're using a yarn needle, like I am, go ahead and take your last slip knotted band and slide it through that hole. Might have to pinch it together to get it through. Just slide it through and then stick the end of your needle through so that you have a slip knot on your needle. Okay, now you are going to place your little nose piece, and I'm putting it right up to my eyes, and make sure that is centered. And you're just going to start stitching this on. So let me just show you how easy this is with a yarn needle. Just gonna, now if you're using your hook, you're going to do it the same way, just go in and out of the face. But what I'm doing is just going through each stitch around this nose piece. And it is so much easier and faster with this yarn needle. Make sure you're holding it in place when you're stitching it on so that it doesn't end up lopsided. And if you're using a hook, go ahead and just pause the video because it might take you a little bit longer to do this. Don't rush it though. There's no need to rush it. Just go at your own pace. And you don't want to pull this part too tight every time you go through a stitch. But the yarn needle really does make it a lot faster and easier to use. I should have started using it earlier before in some of my other designs, but I just recently posted on Instagram letting you guys know that I'd be using this in my tutorials. Oh, and on Facebook too. So if you guys are interested in finding one of these, you can find them at craft stores. I'm sure Walmart has them. And then I think the new hair studio from Rainbow Loom includes like a plastic one that you could use. Okay, so I've got his little nose piece on. And those 6 bands were just enough. So once you get that through, just go through some stitches inside the face. And you're just going to tie it into a knot. And then you'll just cut it off. Okay. So the next thing that we want to add are the ears. And those are easier because we're just gonna pretty much just tie those on. So grab your ears. And then you have your tying off band. You want that to be facing towards the head. So this one's this way and this one's facing towards this way, so it's like opposite. And then you'll just go in through the stitch right next to that tying off band. Pull a black band through, reclaim, and tie a slip knot. And you're going to do that on this one too. Whoops, that's orange. Okay, and then you're going to decide where you want his ears to sit. So, sorry. On Pluto, I made them a little bit higher, but on Goofy, I think I'm going to sit them a little bit lower. So you're just going to find a spot where you want to add it. And then you'll have to go through 2 separate holes in the face or in the head. Bring 1 black band through and then go through another hole and bring the other tying off band through. Just like that. And then go on the inside and tie these 2 bands into a knot. Okay, so I've got 1 ear. I'm going to do my other one. Try to kind of get it in the same, like straight across from this one. We want this one to flip up too. I like how it's flipping up. And let's just do the same thing, so. Sure it's even with the other side. And it's not. And then just tie that in a knot as well. Okay, so now if you're making Pluto, you want to add one of your magic rings onto the top of his head. You can put it further up by his eyes or a little bit further back. And what I did was I just used, let's see, to have an extra, let's just say that this is your yellow head bump. So you take your head bump, go through the next stitch over, and then you would just bring a band through all the loops on your hook, tie a slip knot, and then go directly across on the other side. Grab another yellow band, bring it through the stitch onto your hook, then tie a slip knot. And then, of course, this I'm not going to use this, but I'm just showing you guys. You'll just bring one band through one side, and then do the same thing on the other side, and then tie it in a knot like we just did with the ears. So. For Goofy, we are going to add his hat. So grab your hat. Place it where you want it to be, and mine is going to be off to the side here. And so I have one tying off band here. I'm going to go across from that, put a band through one of the stitches and stick it through, tie a slip knot. And I want this to be facing up, so I'm going to go back through that stitch and pull this tying off band down. I'm going to place it on the head. And then just like with the ears, I'm just going to bring the tying off bands through the head. And then tie it in a knot. Make sure you don't tie it too tight, because you don't want it to deform his head. Okay, so there's his little hat, and then we can add some little hairs on him. He only has a few, so maybe just take 2 bands and just go through in the center, just add some little hairs into the stitches on his head. So just go through like a stitch where you want a hair to be, bring a black band through, and then tie that into a slip knot, and then maybe find another spot right by it. And do again. I'm going to make one more just because. And then you can just snip those with scissors. And then just trim it. I feel like we do a lot of hair cutting in some of my videos. Okay. 2. Now we can continue on with our rows. See how much faster that went by with a yarn needle? You guys have to get one if you don't already have one. Okay, so for row 10, we're just, sorry, my chair is so squeaky. We're just going to be doing single crochets around, and this is where we're going to change colors. So for Goofy, we're doing orange. So this is the start of his shirt. And then if you're doing Pluto, this row is going to be in green for his collar. This is also where we're adding our arms. So our arms are going to be in stitches 5 and 11. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, so if you're doing Pluto, of course, all of your arms and legs are yellow. But if you're doing Goofy, this is where you're going to use the white ones. So let's start where we left off. So I'm going to take off this tying off band here. Put my hook through, and then I'll put my C-clip there. And then I'll get my legs ready. Okay, so I'm switching to orange. Now if you're doing Pluto, again, you're using green. So you're gonna have to do your color change here. So bring it through all the loops on your hook. Do your slip stitch. Okay, so that was 1. I'm gonna go to number 5, so I'll keep going around. There's 2. 3. 4. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to grab one of my arms. I'm going to stick that this loop right here onto my hook. And then I'm going to go through the next stitch over on my magic ring. And then pull an orange band through. If you're doing Pluto, you're going to pull back a green band through. I'm just going to hold on to that for a moment. And I'm going to stick my hook into stitch 5, grab one end of my band with a leg on it, or arm, and pull it through, put the other end on, and do my crochet. So I'm going to go all the way up to stitch 11. So here's 6. Here's 7. 8. 9. I gotta check this because I don't know if 11 is good. No, let's do it in 10. Sorry guys, 10. Alright, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So I'll grab my other arm. You would think it would be the same for each one, but for some reason this one ended up in a different spot. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll put my hook on that loop and then go through my first stitch in my magic ring. Bring either an orange band or a green band through. Just hold on to that for a minute. Stick your hook through stitch number 10. Grab one end of your band, bring it through, reclaim, and crochet. So let me make sure that looks okay. Okay. And then we can just continue around to our C-clip. things might be getting in the way, like the hat. Okay, so that was the end of row 10. And now we'll work on row 11 through 14. So if you are doing Pluto, these will all be in yellow. If you're doing Goofy, this will all be in orange. And it will be a single crochet all the way around in the 24 stitches for a total of 4 rounds. So I'll do the first one with you, and then you guys can do the remaining 3. So since we did our color change, you're going to have that weird stitch. You're going to skip that one and just continue around with your single crochets. Oh my gosh. Keeps happening. This is the first time I've used orange in a long time. I don't make very many things with orange in it. And then once you've finished your round, make sure you mark it off with a band. So that was row 11 that I just finished. So I'm just going to mark it off. And then I need to do 3 more. So if you want to pause the video and do that, and I'll meet you back here when you're finished. Alright, so I have finished with my additional 3 rows. And this is what you should have. And if you're doing Pluto, this is what you should have. So now we're going to start working on for Goofy, we're switching to blue. For Pluto, you are still using yellow. For Pluto, you're doing yellow for the rest of the design, if you guys haven't already figured that out. but for row 15 for Pluto in blue, and we are doing still single crochet around in the 24 stitches, and we're adding our legs to stitches 2 and 8. So for Pluto, add your magic rings onto a yellow band, and for Goofy, these will go onto a blue band, but I'll do that with you guys. So let's start with this row, and since we're doing a color change here for Goofy, we're going to have to do our slip stitch. Maybe see clips in the way. Okay, so that was stitch 1. Now I'm in stitch number 2. I'm going to grab one of my legs, put my hook through the loop on my magic ring, and then through a stitch. I'm going to bring a band through my magic ring, and then through my stitch, reclaim, and then do my crochet. So that's 2. So I'm going to go around to 8. So here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gonna stick my hook through 8. Grab my other foot, put it on my hook, go through the first stitch, grab a band, pull it through the magic ring and the stitch, reclaim, and do a crochet, and then we can crochet all the way to the C-clip. We're almost done. Yay! So for the remainder of Goofy, you'll just be using blue. So for like all the rest of the rows that we have to do, it will just be in blue. So no more color changes for either one. Okay, so here's my last stitch here. Stick my C-clip back in there. Alright, so now we are on row 16. So we're going to start decreasing. So we want to do a single crochet, followed by a decrease, so that we end up with 18 stitches. So since we did the color change here, if you did Goofy, your first blue stitch is going to be going the wrong, like a different way up, so you're going to skip that one. So we'll do our first single crochet and then our second one. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to do a decrease. So I'll pick up my first top loop of my stitch. Then I'll go to the next stitch over and pick up the top loop only. I'll take my band, bring it through the first 2 stitches only, reclaim, and then do my crochet. I'll go back to my single crochets. So there's 1 and 2. Now I'm going to do another decrease. So I'll pick up the top loop of my stitch, then I'll go to the next stitch over and pick up the top loop, Bring a band through the first 2 loops only, reclaim, and crochet. Back to singles. So there is single, single, and then a decrease. Back to singles. So single, single, decrease, single, single, decrease, single, single, and then a decrease. Stick your C-clip back in there. Okay, so for row 17, we want to do a single crochet followed by a decrease so that we end up with 12 stitches. Again, Pluto in yellow and Goofy in blue. Alright, so I'll start with a single crochet. And then I will do a decrease. And then a single. And a decrease. Single. Decrease. Single. Decrease. Single, decrease, single, oops, and then I will end with a decrease. Alright, so now it's time to start stuffing. And I almost forgot that we had to stuff him. So, I'm just going to push this down to my hook a little bit further while I go ahead and stuff him up. So grab your polyfill or whatever you're using and just take little pieces at a time. And just start filling them up. Remember, do not overstuff because you don't want your polyfill showing through. For some reason, my Goofy has like a lazy eye here. It's like, I don't know. Oh well. Focus on filling the front more than the back because of your decreases. You'll have more gaps. Okay, and once he's stuffed, then we can continue on. He's actually cute. I wasn't sure how he was going to turn out because I didn't make him first, so. But he's pretty cute. Alright, so for row 18, our last for a round, we're just going to decrease all the way around in our 12 stitches so that we end up with 6. So we're going to do a total of 6 decreases. So there is 1, try to get your polyfill out of the way. There's 2. There's 3. 4. 5, and then we have 1 more. And 6. Now keep this band on your hook. Grab another one, bring it through, reclaim, and do a slip knot. Now with this tying off band, we're going to close up this gap here. So we'll go through the top loops only of our 6 stitches that are left and just bring this through. So just go all the way around and keep bringing your tying off band through the top loops only. And once you've gone through, push down and pull. Okay, and then take your hook, go through some bands right near your tying off band, bring your tying off band through, and then tie it into a knot. Again, when you're doing this part, push down so that you're not pulling the bands up and stretching them. And then once you've done that, go ahead and try to go on top of your polyfill and bring this band through into the body. And then you can just squish him up and fix him up, because I'm sure he got a little messed up while we were working on him. Okay, so there's Goofy. You don't have to do anything else with him. However, if you did Pluto and you want to add a tail, I'll just show you real quick how to do that. I don't think Goofy has a tail on the Tsum Tsum. I didn't see one, so I'm not going to add one. But basically what I did was I just took one black band, wrapped it around my hook once, grabbed all of them and wrapped them around again. And then you'll just take single bands, double loop them, and then pull the capped band onto that and reclaim, and then you'll just keep adding bands, double loop bands, so just make a chain of them. I'm not going to do a full one, but I think let me count how many I did on this one so you guys You can decide how many you want to put on, but I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I did a total of 8 of these. And then I brought one single band through like this. And then I went through one side of the butt and brought this band through. I kept that band on my hook, went around, went to the other side, brought that band through, and then I tied it into a slip knot, and then hid the tying off band inside the butt. So that's the tail, and that's about it. So here they are. I hope you guys decide to make both of them because I think they're cute. Even though they're the same design, they look different. So I think that's really cool. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope you guys followed along okay. And thank you guys so much for your support, and of course you guys know that I love seeing your creations, so if you want to share them with me on Instagram, that would be great. I'll have the links below in the description box if you aren't already following me, and then I'll have the link below for my Facebook page, where you can share with me on there as well if you don't have Instagram. So I think my next Tsum Tsum tutorials coming out will be Flounder and Ariel. I have Flounder's design done. I just have to work on Ariel. But those will be the next two. And then I'm not sure what my other tutorials will be as far as like a Loom tutorial and then a regular Loomigurumi. But I definitely have the Tsum Tsums planned out already. So hope you have a great night or morning or afternoon. And I will see you guys next time for the next tutorial. Have a great day. Bye.